I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, August the 17th, 2016. Israeli forces arrested a senior Hamas official in the West Bank late last night. Hussein Abu Quick is one of the terror group's high-ranking members in Ramallah. He was detained in a joint raid of Israel's security agency, the Shin Bet, and the IDF. Hamas claims that the arrest was carried out as an attempt by Israel to influence upcoming Palestinian municipal elections. Hamas spokesman Sami Abu Zuhri called on the Palestinian Authority to halt all its cooperation with Israeli security forces and warning that the Israelis nor the PA will be able to break the terror group. Hamas currently rules in Gaza while the PA rules in the West Bank. However, the support for the terror group is growing, and according to reports in the Israeli media, they are expected to gain power in the upcoming elections, which will take place in October. And staying with the Shin Bet, the agency also arrested a Palestinian teenager today suspected of being involved in a stabbing attack last week in the East Jerusalem neighborhood of Atur. As we reported to you on Thursday, an Israeli man was stabbed near the Mount of Olives cemetery and lightly injured. 19-year-old Ahmed Naim Ashayr, who is a resident of Atur, was arrested for the attack. He is also suspected of hurling firebombs at security forces earlier this year. The IDF spokesperson reports that 3 Israeli soldiers have been court-martialed after they are said to have unnecessarily thrown a smoke grenade at a group of young Palestinian men in the northern West Bank earlier this week. This according to a report by the Times of Israel. The sergeant responsible for the unit was found by his commander to have acted, quote, contrary to what is expected of him, and sentenced to military prison for an undisclosed amount of time. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie signed legislation yesterday that would prevent the Garden State's public pension fund from investing with companies that boycott Israel or Israeli businesses. The legislation requires the State Investment Council, which manages billions in pension assets, to identify any potential investments in companies with Israeli boycotts and not to work with them. It had passed in New Jersey's legislature back in June, and the governor signed it into law yesterday. Jewish-American gymnast Ali Reisman has won her 3rd medal at the Games in Rio. Yesterday, the 22-year-old scored a silver in the floor exercise. She now has 6 Olympic medals to her name, having won 3 at the 2012 Games in London. Meanwhile, Israeli Taekwondo competitor Ron Atias lost his first-round match today at the Games, though he could still win a medal. So far, Israel has won 2 bronze medals at the Olympics, both of them in judo. And Reuters reports that the Egyptian competitor who was defeated by Israeli bronze medal winner judoka Ori Sasson, who then refused to shake Sasson's hand, was sent home to Egypt and reprimanded for his behavior. Egyptian judoka Islam El-Shahabi was reportedly sent home by his own team and reprimanded by the International Olympic Committee, who said that the disciplinary committee, the DC, considered that his behavior at the end of the competition was contrary to the rules of fair play and against the spirit of friendship embodied in the Olympic values, adding that as well as a severe reprimand, the DC has asked the Egyptian Olympic Committee to ensure in future that all their athletes receive proper education on the Olympic values before coming to the Olympic Games. Over 230 new immigrants from North America, or Olim, landed in Israel this morning on a special Nefesh B'Nefesh flight. The passengers included the 50,000th immigrant to make Aliyah through the Nefesh B'Nefesh program, which eases the Aliyah process for North Americans, and 75 young men and women volunteering for the IDF as lone soldiers. The group got a special send-off at John F. Kennedy Airport in New York last night, where newly appointed Israeli Consul General in New York, Dani Dayan, addressed the group, telling them, "You are the largest defeat to BDS," referring to the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement. He said, "You are taking part in the miracle of the return to Zion." And upon landing, the Olim were greeted by Israel's President Reuven Rivlin at Ben Gurion Airport, who told them, "You are no longer Jews in exile, you are now all Israelis." Each of you, young and old, men and women, have fulfilled the dream of 2,000 years. You have made Aliyah. And taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Wednesday, August the 17th. At 7 o'clock, a discussion on reinventing religious landmarks for the 21st century. With Rabbi Arthur Schneier, the Reverend Kathleen Lyles, Father Anthony Andriassi, Ken Fisher, and Professor Andrew Dolkart. That's from the Park East Synagogue in New York. At 8 o'clock, a discussion of the causes of contemporary anti-Semitism with Professor Deborah Lipstadt, Jonathan Tobin, Mark Weitzman, Daniel Guadalupe, and Rabbi Joe Potasnik from Kane University in New Jersey. At 9 o'clock, a close look at the historic city of Hebron that continues to be a source of conflict between Jews and Arabs with resident David Wilder. And at 10:30, actor Michael Douglas speaks to Danny Meyer and April Baskin of the Union for Reform Judaism on what it means to create an open and welcoming Jewish community. That's from the URJ Biennial of 2015. And coming up right after this newscast tonight, Thinking Out Loud with Micah Halpern. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, August the 17th, 2016. I'm Teisha Bader.